So now we're going to be looking at how we can use the nth term to work out any term in the sequence. So in the previous lesson we looked at how to get the nth term, and now we're going to be using the nth term. So let's say we have the nth term 5n plus 1. We said that n is the position of a number. The number before n is the common difference, usually the first difference between each term. And then the number that you add on to or you take away from the rest is usually the 0th term. So, using this, we can start off by writing a sequence. So if we put our table of values, so n here, and then we have 5n plus 1 here, and then we draw a table. So we could start with 0 if you want. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we do 5n plus 1. So wherever you have n, you're going to replace with the numbers here. So let's take the first one. So it'll be 5, replace the n with a 0, plus 1. So we do the brackets first. So 5 times 0 gives us 0. And then you add the 1, which gives us 1. So the first one will be 1. Then second one, so 5 times 1 is 5. Add the 1 gives you 6. 5 times 2 gives you 10. Add the 1 gives you 11. 5 times 3 gives you 15. Add 1 gives you 16. 5 times 4 is 20. Add 1 is 21. 5 times 5 is 25. Add 1 gives you 26. So here, which I'm highlighting in blue, is the start of your sequence. Now they might ask you to work out the 10th term. So what this means is find the number in the sequence that's in the 10th position. So in the 10th position. So since we know that n is the position of the number, that means we have to put in when n equals 10 into the nth term. So we said that our nth term was 5n plus 1. Well, we know n is 10, so we're going to substitute that for the n in the nth term. So we do 5, replace the n with the 10, and then you add 1. So we do the brackets first. So 5 times 10 gives you 50. Add the 1, and that gives you 51. So your answer for this question would be 51. So for example, for you to do, let's say the nth term is 6n plus 2. I want you to work out the 11th term. And I also want you to write the first 5 terms of the sequence. Have a go, pause the video, and then come back to check your answer. So your 11th term should be equal to 68. And how I did that was I replaced the n in the nth term with 11. So 6 times 11 gives you 66, and then you add 2 to give 68. To work out the first 5 terms, you can do a table of values like we did here. So put in each value. You don't have to start with 0, you usually start with 1. So if you put n equals 1, so 6 times 1 gives you 6, add 2 gives you 8. Then 6 times 2 gives you 12, add 2 gives you 14. And then you keep doing that, so you get 20, 26, and then finally 32. So these are your first 5 terms. another way of working out your sequence is, so if we find out the first term, so you do n equals 1, you put that into the equation, and you work out 8, you know that 6 is representing the difference between each term. So that means because it's a positive 6, we're going to be adding 6 each time. So even without working out each time 6 times 2, 6 times 3, adding 2, you can just add 6 each time like this to get your next answer. So for example, if I had 3n plus 2, I can work out the first term is, so 3 times 1, 3 plus 2 gives us 5. And we know that there's a 3 here, so we're going to be adding 3 each time. So 5 add 3 is 8, add 3 is 11, add 3 is 14, and so on. You could also do it like that. So that's the end of this video. In the next video I'm going to be giving you more word problems and picture problems. So this is quite simple stuff. I'm going to be using what we know here into actual problems that you might get in a test.